What's going on? Jake here with Uncommon EDC. Today we're going to be taking a look at my Case Jigged BoneStag Barlow. Grabbed this one at Blade Ops probably about a month ago for $72, where it is still available at the time I'm uploading this video, so I'll be sure to link to that listing in the description if you're interested in picking this one up. I will say on this one, this is probably my perfect case knife, and that's obviously saying a lot, bold statement, and only speaking for myself here, but a lot goes into that. Starting with the pattern, I obviously love a Barlow pattern, but more importantly, I love a single blade Barlow pattern, which is what we have here. We keep our main clip point, we lose the pen blade. Happy to make that trade, to be honest. With my two-bladed Barlows, 98% of the time I'm using the clip point. It might even be more than 98% of the time. I rarely ever use the pen blade. And in exchange, we get this much slimmer profile. We get a lighter weight knife and the blade that I'm mainly using anyway. So happy to make that trade, at least for me. In terms of these covers, these might be perfect as well. It's bone stag, so not staghorn, but the way it's finished, that jigging pattern on it is just excellent. We have these super unique kind of crevice look to that jigging pattern with almost a saw cut texture inside of each of those crevices, so it gives it this super distinct and individual look for each knife, but every example I've seen of it looks so good. Then up near the bolsters, we get this excellent coloration, especially if we flip over to my PAL side. This is probably the better looking of my two covers. I think they both look incredible though. Honestly, I think you could probably put this up against any slip joint in my collection, and these covers will probably come out ahead against all of them in terms of my preference. So really dig what they did here. I think it looks incredible. And so next up is the fit and finish, a hot topic of conversation lately. And for this one, 10 out of 10 for me, no notes whatsoever. We have no gaps whatsoever. Our pins and our shield and everything are sitting in there nicely. Already showed that blade centering perfectly center there. Our walk and talk is excellent. A really nice stout pull on it. I wouldn't say heavy, but heavier than any of my other Case Barlows in my collection. Probably about a 6 or so. Nice and smooth too though, but a little bit of resistance, which I like. Nice and snappy into the half stop and our fully deployed position. We have no blade play whatsoever. Nice stout spring on here, so really loving that. And again, great acoustics in the closing as well. And so couldn't be happier with the fit and finish. Like I said, that's been a hot topic of conversation lately and off and on for the last several years, to be honest, is Case's QC. But just kind of wanted to show this example of when they do it right, they make a damn good knife. Honestly, this is probably up there with all of my favorite Barlows, if not my favorite Barlow that I have in my collection. It's right there in the conversation with GEC's 15s, which are a lot more expensive than this one. And so when you get a good example, it's pretty hard to beat these for an American-made knife. That price point, $72. Again, I'm comparing it to these $130, $140 Barlows from GEC, and it's right in that same conversation, if not better than some of those. And so really happy with how this one turned out. Now, I probably don't need to go over the specs so much for this one. Most people who are watching a video on a Case Jigged BoneStag Barlow probably already have a Case Barlow, but in any event, we'll run through them quickly. 3.375 inches in that closed position. Perfect size for my hand to get that full 4-finger grip, and don't need to go any larger, but able to get that in there just perfectly. 2.5-inch clip point blade. Love a clip point, obviously. I do love single blade Warncliffs in particular. I don't think Case makes any of those though, so the clip point is right up there as well. Do prefer the Warncliffe just a little bit, but absolutely perfect here. Tru-Sharp Stainless, which is one area where I wouldn't have minded seeing that changed over to a carbon steel, but can't get everything you want in a knife always. I don't think they make any bone stag in carbon steel that I've seen so far. If they do, I will almost certainly purchase another one of these. Now, no stamp anymore. We have the etching that's across the board. Again, not something we can really change right now. We can only voice our displeasure with that. So we have Case XX with the 6 dots on our show side. On our PAL side, we have the USA 6.5 1009 and a half with the SS for the stainless steel. Again, looking at that shield, looks really nice. It's set in there nicely. If it looks like it's at a little bit of an angle, I don't think it is. It's set in there perfectly. Can't really catch any of those corners or anything. There's no wiggle. The reason I think it looks like that is with this jigging pattern, it's just not consistent heights. If you look at it from the side, you can see there's almost a little bit of a bacon effect going on where it's a little bit wavy and different heights and textures within that jigging. And so the shield itself is flat, and so nearly impossible to get it to look like it's completely flat with the jigging around it, but really well set in there. Same thing with the pins. All of that is really, really well done. And so I say that because this is a perfect example of it, like I said, and it doesn't really invalidate either side of the conversation or validate either side of the conversation. People who've had bad QC, that's still unacceptable. It's still a conversation that needs to be had. People who've had great ones or are arguing on the other side are still valid in their experiences with the knives. I'm just kind of adding my data point to it and showing what you can get with a perfect fit and finish from Case. I would love to hear your experience though down in the comments, what your experience with their quality control. Are you still willing to buy Case knives online, or is this an in-person only or secondary with lots of pictures type of scenario nowadays? Also would love to hear your thoughts on this knife in the comments. I absolutely love it, but not maybe for everyone. Not everyone's as into stag as I am. Really something that's kind of more recent for me. I've just kind of gone down the rabbit hole. I've been grabbing a bunch of different stag knives lately. But thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider liking, commenting, subscribing, joining the channel as a member. They all help the channel out a ton. And as always, hope you have a great one. Take care.